race for Seattle's mayor continues. 9 candidates have thrown their hats in the ring ahead of August's primary election, and we've invited all of them to join us on Seattle's Morning News.
That we have, and one candidate drawing public interest is Dr. Clinton Bliss. He is with us in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you.
Thank you.
You have a medical background.
Yes.
Why would you want to get into politics?
I think that it actually is partially my medical background that brought me into this. I think that a lot of the rhetoric I hear about dealing with our homeless population really is dealing with addiction and mental health, and that's something that I have extensive experience in managing.
You mentioned addiction and mental health. You know, part of the approach in Seattle is not is having people go into shelter without proactively telling them they should probably go into addiction treatment and go into rehab, detox, what have you. How would you approach that model of harm reduction versus something like saying, hey, you really should go into rehab instead of asking the patient to ask themselves first?
I'm not sure I quite follow that, but what I would say is my experience working with people with addiction is that when they are ready for treatment, you can help them out. And before that, it's kind of like trying to hold on to somebody who is throwing themselves off a cliff. It's very difficult to be helpful to them. And I do believe that we should provide the resources. I think that mental health is kind of similar. It's a little bit different, but also those people need a lot of resources. It's not just housing. They have difficulties managing their lives in general. And I think just throwing them on the street seems a very sad thing to do.
Can you describe what you call the 3 pillars of your campaign?
I'm not sure I can, but integrity is one of them, I recall. I'm a person who believes strongly in being who you are, and if I'm elected, then people will be happy with who I am. I also believe in compassionate action. I believe that caring for others is really important, and really understanding the other side. At the moment, I believe that we are really vilifying the other side. We seem to not want to understand. And everybody's point of view is important if we're going to come to durable solutions. Seems like what we do right now is we kind of dehumanize the other side and we excommunicate those who don't agree with us. And that's really a step towards warfare. And I think that's what we're seeing in Los Angeles now. It's really sad if you ask me.
I'm curious what you make of the protests happening there and the anticipated protests tonight and last night where there was some interactions between police and protesters.
Yes. Again, I feel like this is such a big issue, and it's not just as simple as we're going to protect all immigrants. We have what my understanding is that we often take immigrants who come across our borders and we put them in poor neighborhoods that are ill-equipped to take care of people, have not that many resources already to provide public education, and it puts an extreme strain, and we put each other against each other in these processes. And if we really want to take care of people, we need to work together as a team.
Certainly hope it doesn't get to the point here as it has in L.A. with the protests. But if it were to happen and the President of the United States were to deploy troops in the beautiful city of Seattle, how would you react?
I would appeal to the people of Seattle to find solutions to work together. I think that rule of law still is important, and I think that we cannot pick and choose. I was on a walk yesterday with a group, and they were talking about having traffic cameras, and I said, well, I think those are good. And then I said, I also think those cameras could be used for tagging and graffiti, and they said, oh, no, we don't think we want that. And I feel like we don't get to pick and choose. We can change our laws, but the idea that because we don't get the outcome that we like out of it, that we find that our schools provide. They fail to graduate 50% of our poor and minority students, and we incarcerate people at a higher rate who are poor and minority, and they have longer sentences. That doesn't mean we want to leave criminals on the streets. That just perpetuates that misery, that cycle of misery. And I believe strongly that we want to have rule of law. I believe in protests, but I do not believe in taking over buildings through violence. I think that's all wrong.
Speaking of crime, does Seattle have a gang problem?
I know they have a little bit of a gang problem, and I suspect we have a large one. First of all, gangs generally, in my opinion, are a response to a black market in drugs. And drugs are a thing. The war on drugs, in my opinion, is a waste of our precious resources. We cannot force people, as I was saying earlier, to stop using drugs when they're committed to that. They will give up their housing, their families, all of that for it. And so, yes, I know in the CHOP, when we had that there, that became a lawless zone, and gangs moved in there, and that was part of the gunfire that was going in. There was people wanting to have that turf in order to deal drugs outside of the law.
How do you keep that from happening?
I think we have to have, I personally am in favor of legalizing drug use. I think we gain hardly anything out of that, and we lose a lot. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're asking me. Yeah.
No, I think that gives us a kind of an idea for sure. Lastly, because we just have a couple of moments left, what is your big pitch to Seattle voters? If they're listening right now, they want to find out more about Dr. Clinton Bliss and your platform. What's the one thing you want them to know about you as they listen to this interview today?
I'm running for office because Seattle needs help. Frankly, our country needs help. I'm a doctor. I've spent my life helping people, and I have a positive vision for Seattle, not just a tearing down. I believe I can bring people together, and we can make this city a beautiful city, a welcoming city, and a model for taking care of everyone.
Just quickly, a softball to wrap it up here. When you're not campaigning or taking care of patients, what do you like to do?
Well, I guess the thing I've enjoyed most here in Seattle is dance. Laura, my partner, and I, we produce a dance on Capitol Hill called Bliss Dance with rotating DJs, and it's a free-form dance, yes.
I was not expecting that. That's
I wasn't either. Right. It sounds fun.
Okay, Dr. Clinton Bliss, thank you. It's truly a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.